Burgess and Bolton's weekly wrap-up.
Hello, Ben.
Hello, Jeremy. Happy Friday.
Yes, happy Friday to you, and welcome everybody to this week's edition of Burgess and Bolton's weekly wrap-up, where we look at everything to do with technology, change, innovation in the London market, and this week football as well. There's a competition started.
Yeah,
Ben.
Yes. Apparently,
yeah. I don't know. I haven't got that excited about it. I actually didn't. I thought it was starting tonight. I didn't know it was starting on Thursday.
Yeah, it's crept up, hasn't it? Somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know why it crept up. There hadn't been a big pizzazz beforehand, but it seems to be ramping up a little.
Yeah,
I think part of the problem is England don't play until a week into the competition, which seems a heck of a long time.
Yeah.
But we'll discuss that.
We will discuss that. Maybe it's because there's so many people in it. But yeah.
Exactly. There are so many. That's exactly what we will discuss.
Yeah. We'll discuss that later. Okay, good. Let's get started, Ben. So next week is TINtech Data Jam. So looking forward to that. Lots of people coming. So that's all good. As always, we have run a pre-event survey ahead of the event. So we've had a lot of responses. I shared with you some of the raw data, and there's tons of people filling in. So thanks for filling it in if you did. And I just thought I'd highlight kind of 5 things, I guess, that have come out of the survey, and we can have a chat about them and see how we feel about them. So first one, so the market's moved beyond AI experimentation. So in the survey results, there's a lot of people talking really about not really proofs of concepts and kind of little initiatives. They're really saying, well, how can we then learn how to get it into business as usual? And what are some of the case studies where it's been successful? What are the key criteria to get it to work? And what's been less successful as well, because it's all a bit of a trial and error. Sticking with the AI theme, it's more of an organizational challenge than a technology challenge. As I think we've talked about this before. So I think you talk to most people, especially on the ops and IT side of things, who say the technology's there, it's all fine. It's actually implementing it into your workflows. It's about, there's an education piece that needs to be done across the organization as well as the end users. There's a cultural mind shift change that needs to take place, because this isn't a once and done technology. It will keep evolving, it will keep changing. So yeah, it's how do you kind of redesign your organization in order to get AI to work. Data is another big challenge. So data accessibility is the next battleground. So data quality remains important, but insurers are increasingly focused on making trusted data available across their systems, and teams and the AI tools that they're using. And without that, you can't get these AI models to work, whether they're large or small language models or whatever.
Yeah.
And then a little bit about agentic. So I think last year everyone was kind of talking about Gen AI. This year people are talking about agentic workflows, and there seems to be a lot of interest in how it will kind of impact traditional ways of working. Again, an organizational challenge. And then you've got kind of the governance element. So I think if you look back 12 months ago, people were worried about the regulatory landscape, the internal governance, how you do that. I think it's more about how you balance innovation with accountability, explainability, and trust in order to kind of fast forward your digital AI kind of change agenda. So And just generally, I think it's quite positive. You know, I think you mentioned this before we came on air. You know, the results are pretty positive in their outlook.
Yeah.
They're not saying these challenges aren't insurmountable. They're saying there's a huge opportunity, and now's the time to kind of change. I don't know what you thought.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it, standing alone, I think it is showing that there's sort of evolution in the thinking, and I guess the aspiration. And I think the heart of the question is two, really, which is it's becoming an organizational challenge. Not something that I think insurance has done particularly well in historical terms, but let's put that to one side. I think I suppose the question that I asked, and this is why we go on to this report, which we'll talk about in a sec. The Bain report came out, was what's the general world view, if you like, of this now, or the view from the top? And I think that is similar, but as you say, not quite as positive. And the question therefore is why, is, which we can obviously discuss next week, is, are we being too positive, or should we be more realistic about what's possible? It's a funny thing, isn't it? Really, in any, you need a balance of optimism and pragmatism, I think, in business, and particularly when new technologies come along. Most of them come with a great fanfare and then disappear into history. So the hype is, the hype is always the thing to think about, but it still captures us all. We get carried away, and I'll be interested certainly next week to see whether there's a sense of that. Are we getting too carried away, or is what's really possible? I mean, look, I think we were talking off air, as it were, about this, and conversations I've been having. It's very, very messy business in insurance at the moment, data-wise, particularly process-wise, hugely outdated, still massive reliance on email. So there's the level of automation is, I think, haven't got a number on it, must be relatively low in this industry compared with, say, banking and other sectors. So again, I think the question is about kind of what's the real take. And I think, though, this is saying it's not really about AI. AI is an opportunity. It's about organizations. I think the fifth one's interesting, governance as well. I think that is if you can get to be decisive and make decisions and get on with things and execute, and governance doesn't get in the way, I do agree that's a competitive advantage. I think that's a really good point. And that's one of the problems of the industry, is its slowness and its sluggishness around anything. It's terribly slow and terribly bureaucratic, and it's that kills it sometimes.
Yeah, I think so. I think also, if you look at just the way that the US has kind of embraced, I think we've talked about this on the show before. US companies embrace technologies much quicker than European and UK companies. They always seem to be happy to either give it a go, experiment, trial and error, and then it seems that we put the governance thing first. It was quite interesting when I spoke to somebody, and I might have said this on the show before. They were saying it's a bit like when the internet first came along, and people go, "Oh, this is an amazing opportunity," but we're not letting any of our staff use it.
Yeah,
because they can only use the websites that we sign off. Whereas a whitelist approach, rather than we have a blacklist approach. Now you don't visit those websites. So it's quite interesting, and especially, as you say, in insurance, which is kind of risk averse by nature. It's kind of another
Yeah.
step removed, I think.
Yeah.
Should we have a look at your report, the CEO Bain report?
Yeah, this is it's a really interesting actual report. It's good because I know these consultancies come out with these sorts of reports all the time, and some of them are a bit boring. But this, I don't think this is good. It's really where's the CEO's heads at. So this is right across industry segments and across the globe, and I think it's a good, honest analysis. And the key findings really are, one is that CEOs seem to be clear, and you might say, well, they would say this because they're CEOs, but they're clear on strategy and they're clear on vision. They know what they want to achieve and where they want to go with their businesses. That's not something they're too concerned about. But their challenges, and I think we've just seen this a bit, is that it's translating that into measurable outcomes for the business. And I think that's a great kind of way of articulating the real challenge is, can we take whatever's there, the tools that we've got, the things that are around, including AI, and say, can we make that work? And that's across really fast moving, complex markets, now in the world as it sits, as it exists today. So the challenge is more an execution challenge, and the report breaks it down into kind of 4 key areas, like routines, which I suppose is processes or what you do in the business. Capabilities, i.e. your people, your talent, the skills and the skill sets they have, particularly around things like curiosity and all those sorts of things. So there's a lot of change there expected and wanted. And behaviors, so what do people do and how do they operate, and to make things happen. And then finally governance, which is the I suppose the more the efficiency of governance, the ability to make decisions, to not let bureaucracy or gold plating regulation or whatever get in the way of anything. So where I think these chief execs are looking, in my view, is at the middle tier of management in their organizations. It's kind of the most powerful group in businesses, because CEOs have power and C-suite have power, but it's the execs who are supposed to do it and make it happen, and they can hold it all up really. And I think that's where they're saying we're concerned, and they don't. So the report also argues that AI won't scale. You won't scale AI through technology alone. You won't do it by just bringing it in. What you have to do is, and they say there's a number, 70% of it becomes from really reimagining what your organization is. And I think this is very relevant for insurance, because you can see areas and patches where it's trying to change. It's trying to become more customer focused. It's trying to meet needs. It's trying to develop products that will meet the protection gap. It's trying to become innovative, if you like, in its broadest sense. But it struggles with that. And I can see it, in my day-to-day work, where I meet with quite senior, some of these execs really, and this is not meant to be a criticism of these people, but you don't get the sense that they're fired up for change, I'm afraid. This is not people who come to your more techie conferences, but it's, the people at the coalface of this. You don't get that. You get the feeling of they're just managing what's in front of them and trying to optimize that, not necessarily saying that there is all sorts of things we could change and develop and reimagine and all that sort of thing. So I feel like either it's those people who haven't got the right skills or aspirations or ambition, or they're just so weighed down, or arguably they're just paid really well and they don't care. I don't know what it is, but there's a bit of a sense of that. And I think this report captures some of that unease about bloody great technology, all this amazing stuff that can be done with it, but how can we get our sludgy corporations, to be, kind of entrepreneurial, I suppose, wanting to do things, wanting to change, and then make that transformation happen. And some of it, interesting, there's there's a section in the report which is about the time that CEOs spend on internal crap, basically, meetings they don't need to be at, versus, working on strategy and execution and all that sort of stuff, getting out there, with the customers and things, that they describe it. And they say that all of them virtually say that they're just overwhelmed with this kind of sort of stuff that doesn't do anything, doesn't achieve anything, so they're not freed up to do it. So the bureaucracy has kind of engulfed them too. And what they're trying to do is to make, and again, this is from the report, they're trying to make execution into something that's a repeatable system. It's a really simple concept. It's just, can we do something well and then just repeat? And I kind of use the example of good businesses like McDonald's or something, which just does it was kind of revolutionary as a business, because what it did was it created, customers who were confident and certain those things would, the burgers and things and the food would be delivered in the same way repeatedly every single time at a price that was acceptable to them, the right price point. McDonald's is kind of an old model now, but it doesn't really change. It's being able to execute your strategy and just get it so it repeats. And then I think when you've got that, that's when your AI comes in, as you scale it over that sort of, right, this is the process, this is what we've got, this is what we're trying to achieve, we've got it all together, now get this AI and make it, give it rocket fuel in a way to accelerate it. So yeah, that's, my sense of that is, and this report puts it across really well, is exactly what I kind of see in the insurance industry. There's a struggle in the industry that we have because everybody's codependent, because it's particularly in the B2B commercial space where there's intermediated businesses, there's outsourced, there's the companies themselves. Everybody's kind of slightly trying to work out where so this isn't just a company working on its own. I don't think any company works on its own, but it's particularly difficult in insurance because you're so codependent on all these other players, even your competitors at times in subscription markets. So I think it's played against those results that you got from your survey. It feels that this is a bit more like, wow, this is quite a lot more challenging, than they might think, perhaps.
Yeah, and I think it will be a good discussion next week to get a feel really for where people are on that kind of spectrum that we've just kind of laid out there.
Yeah.
And get some of those, sticking points out into the open and talk about them, because as you say, these are common challenges across organization and across the sector. So I think it's valuable to talk them through.
I think in some of the comments as well that, you've given a summary, but I think in some of the comments you can see some of this, the questions that people have asked in that survey, you can see some of it, what's the future? What are we going to do? I mean, there's some questions there about what happens to underwriting when it all goes on to algorithms. And there are some, those, looks like a kind of innocuous comment in a sense, but it's a massive question really, is what happens when all this shifts and changes, and behind that is a huge transformation potentially, or a mess. I don't know which way it goes. And I think some of the people who will have answered that survey and for TINtech will be kind of quite technical, in the technology part of the business or the operational part of the business, and therefore the question is, how connected, and I think this comes up in the BAME as well, how connected are the people at the front end or in these parts of the business with what the strategy is? So it's there's always been a disconnect, which is, hey, here's all the brilliant shiny technology and it can do this, this and this. I mean, I don't know what you think about this, but I still listen to the leading technology people in this market talking about the technology, and I think that has so little to do with the reality of working in an insurance company, doing claims, doing underwriting, doing this. I think there's a massive disconnect between the sort of vision of the Holy Grail or whatever it is, the light on the mountain versus the reality of in the trenches of making the insurance industry work on what are still quite tight margins and low growth and all those sorts of things. So I definitely come back to the fact of we're all not just in insurance, but all the industries around the world are going to have to face up to our success will only come from those businesses that can do that, repeatable systems of execution and use any technology, whatever it's going to be, because you'll have a new set of phrases next year, Jeremy, for this. We've moved from agentic AI to something else, robotic something or other, or
there'll
be a new phrase. Always the language gets reinvented so quickly, doesn't it? I mean, in tech,
I think also that speed of change as well makes it even more complex than messy, because there isn't that kind of plateau period where the new technology comes in, you have time to assess it, it's then you integrate it, and over 5 years you start to make kind of very incremental changes to the way you work, and before you know it, actually the process that you did 5 years ago and what you're doing now it's still the process, but the technology that you're using, the platforms and things like that have changed. Now, I think the problem with the environment we're in at the moment is that, like you say, in 12 months' time, who knows what the developments are going to be. And we're going to talk a little bit about SpaceX, launching its IPO later today. And the amount of investment that's going in is mind-boggling. So it just.
And you're right. I mean, one other thing that does come up, one of the other comments that comes up to your point there, which we haven't really touched on, which is important, and it's another big area and the challenge for insurance in particular, I think, but probably other industries too, is, we're talking about insurance here, is the whole kind of what's the risk of AI? What do we do with AI if it goes wrong? And there are a couple of questions that people raise there about, what happens when we're suddenly in AI and we find out it's actually systemically problematic for insurance, which is a big problem for insurance, really big problem. And, the taking the human judgment out of it potentially. So that, again, is a kind of, bloody hell, how do you make decisions about that stuff in a messy industry where most of it, to be honest, is based on custom and practice still? The stuff that we see around how things operate and work is, we've always done it this way, and we it's very manual and it's bespoke, and this is how it works at all levels, from the big reinsurance deals down to even smaller claims, still heavily reliant on that custom and practice. And that's not kind of what AI does. AI takes it and says, right, we'll just boil it down into, and anyway, I think there's some significant challenges around it and some dangers as well.
Yep, I think so. So looking forward to the conversations next week. Thanks for all those who are coming, and I'm sure we'll do a bit of a wrap up of the main themes that come out of that. I think it will be interesting. Right, shall we stay on the AI theme and just talk about hallucinations for a minute?
This is an example. I mean, it's kind of funny, but it's also an example of an area where there are problems. So this is a KPMG report that came out on the redefining excellence in the age of agentic AI. This could be one of the titles of one of your sessions, I thought. Probably is. So so this is the name of the report from KPMG, and long story short, clearly they used AI, didn't check any of it, and it made all sorts of false claims about the Swiss bank, UBS, the NHS, Swiss Railways, and TfL, where with all these case studies and examples of how they were using AI in use cases, and actually they all turned out to be factually incorrect. An organization called GPT-0, which presumably doesn't like AI, called it out, and then the FT did a fact check on all of it and identified nearly all of the things in this report as hallucinations about where AI was being used. And it rather plays into that Bain report, where one of their main findings, which I didn't kind of explain, was that actually chief execs are seeing very few returns at the moment from AI, so they're disappointed in it fundamentally. So it's kind of funny in that they said that UBS has all these AI agents working right across the investment, advisory, and compliance areas, and UBS said, no, not really, we haven't. The NHS in Greater Manchester is using AI agents to predict hospital readmissions rates, triaging patients, and making automatic referrals. And the spokesperson from the NHS, well, yeah, that doesn't really align with what we're actually doing. So KPMG have kind of had to pull this report, but still it's being quoted, all over the world in all sorts of august publications as the future and how brilliant AI is. So, yeah, there we go. It's this GPT-0 said these consultants are poisoning the well of truth or something, which was perhaps a bit extreme. But I mean, and you could say, okay, well, they should just check this stuff. But at the end of the day, this is just a report on something that makes some assertions. But if this was decisions made on people's insurance claims or something like that, this wouldn't be very good, or their benefits or whatever. It wouldn't be very good.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I was telling you, I kind of flip-flop between, it's going to be amazing to it's going to be the end of the world, but then I try and print something and then go, well, the printer doesn't work, so I can't imagine the cyborgs are going to be coming soon.
I mean, there's this gap, isn't there, between what's reality and your day-to-day life, and I have one example, which is if I walk over a particular part of London Bridge, there's no phone signal.
Yeah,
but then you can, at the other end of London Bridge, you could be reading an article about SpaceX or what the world's going to do, and you kind of think there's some sort of gap between normal people's lives and how they interact with technology, and what this is my point about what technologists say and what real people say.
Yeah. Good. Okay, let's move on. What should we do next, Ben? Should we have a look at SpaceX? That's quite interesting.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was looking for things and memes for this, and this is, I think, I thought of you when I saw this.
Yeah. If you don't buy, it'll go up. If I do buy, it'll go down. That is what I've been thinking as well. So I've stayed well clear of it. I know
it's actually quite hard. So the SpaceX IPO, for people who haven't read it, I can't believe anybody's not read about it, but it's a 1.3 trillion or something. Anyway, I can't remember what it is. Some ludicrous amount of money that lives in another planet, to be honest, and has literally Mars probably, and most of it though is actually only 1 or 2 billion is being made available to the people like you and me. The rest is tied up in the institutional finance organizations. And the people are saying this is a bit of a cheat because it kind of unfairly constrains access to this, because normally you have a much higher proportion that people, ordinary day traders or whatever they are, people like us, can buy into. And so so it's kind of there's a sense it's exaggerated the value of the company. I mean, of course the company's value is exaggerated. bloody rockets flying to Mars.
Yeah.
I mean, how can it? I mean, what sort of investment is that? Highly risky, I may suggest.
Yeah, quite a lot of them do blow up, and
Well, yeah. What's his Bezos's one blew up, didn't it?
yeah,
They're supposed to be reusable, but there's a. The other thing I'd say about this to our earlier theme is on the sort of disconnect is a lot of the memes are about the US contrasting the terrible parlous state of everything in the US economy and the wars and all that sort of thing. But everybody's taking comfort from the SpaceX IPO because that's the only good thing. But I think it's kind of ironic. You know, they're showing the irony of something that's completely, kind of pie in the sky, I suppose, and saying that essentially the real narrative is like it's so terrible on this planet, we're all going to live on Mars, and that's really the story. Is that's why we're all investing in it, because we're all so fed up with this planet.
that's pretty funny. That is good.
Which is, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of what it is saying, really. Yeah, it'll all be fine if you just put your money with Elon.
Yeah. I'm not, so everyone who does.
Oh,
no,
that'll knock the price.
Yeah, I know. That's now now my position is public. You can all wade in and make lots of money.
God, I hope you're not shorting the stock in some way.
No, I don't. I don't understand any of it, and hence why I lose the money. Anyway,
yeah. There's a kind of very good book about what is a corporation, written by a guy called John Kay, who was the editor of the FT, and I would definitely recommend people read it. But it's it kind of describes why businesses aren't really run by shareholders anymore. They're run by that group, those sort of middle group of execs, because they're the people who kind of earn a lot of money and run the show. Because that's essentially, this is the same thing. They're going to invest all this money, the shareholders, but they don't really have control over the execution of the thing that is being stated. Very, very, I mean, the language that the campaign for this uses is just kind of ridiculous. It's like our future in the stars and all that stuff.
Yeah. There's an interesting book I'm reading. I've just started reading, and I think it's called The Kingdom of AI or something like that. And I think the start of the book says that it's difficult to start a company. It's really difficult to grow a company, but it's actually really easy to start a religious movement. Roughly those words to those effects, and that's then how they've kind of the word, to your point around the words that they're using. It's almost like a religious, you're joining faith. It's stuff.
Well, you are, aren't you, with a Musk type of thing? You're joining there's some substance to it, but there's a huge amount of finance and money that washes around in these things that has nothing to do with the real valuation of the company. When you get to the scale that they're talking about, it doesn't in any way match the assets. I mean, I was talking to an accountant friend of mine a few weeks ago who we were chatting about this. So this is a complete, as you say, just like a cult, basically. Everybody says, but then people make money off it, right? So that's you're selling air, or you're selling the pulpit of Elon Musk.
Very good.
Crazy.
Talking of crazy, World Cup started last night, and a crazy amount of teams, 48 nations. We're going to pick some teams. Should we do that now, or are we doing?
Let's
are we
do
doing
it.
the most competitive?
Yeah, you can do the competitive thing after that. Yeah, do the
Right.
spins. It might
So we've
take a
got-
bit of a while to do this.
We're going to pick 5 teams. Well, we're not going to pick them. The what is it called? The spin wheel of World Cup. It's a bit like Alan Partridge's guide to World Cup 94
Yeah.
signpost thing. Anyway, we're going to
Yeah.
spin it.
I'll write it down. This is for you, right? This one.
This is for me.
Do you want to explain what we're doing?
We are going to pick 5 teams. I got Egypt as the first one.
So
And we're going to follow. We're going to follow these teams,
Egypt.
and
Yeah.
support them all the way through, and we must watch each game, no matter what time of day it is. Maybe not. And then we will report back and see how far we get.
10 teams between us, so there's a chance we might win.
There is.
Or if you get a podium place, you win.
Right, this is you. Turkey.
Turkey. They've changed the name of Turkey, haven't they?
Oh. Oh, 8:30.
Oh God.
Right. What have we got? Oh. Belgium.
Belgium, that's not bad.
Not bad. You might have a chance. It's great viewing, isn't it, for everybody? Where the hell's that?
Oh, Curacao, yeah. Smallest nation. It's a Caribbean nation. I mean, they're not
Have I
gonna
got
win.
that?
Yeah, that's you.
Oh,
Curacao, there's only 150,000 people live there.
well, they got a new supporter. Oh, Switzerland.
Okay.
How many have we got left?
2 more.
2 more.
Well, 2 more slots.
Sweden.
Sweden.
Yeah.
Sweden. Okay. Gotta get a big name. Come on.
Yeah. Oh. Colombia.
Colombia, they're pretty good, but I don't think they're going to win.
No.
That's for me.
Well, we've got one more each.
Next. One more. I think we might do a bonus one. 6.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Uruguay.
Yeah, not bad.
Oh. Jordan.
Jeez. Okay.
So this illustrates exactly.
We'll do a bonus. I think we'll
Okay.
do 2. I think we'll have 7. We'll do 2 bonuses.
Yeah. Ivory Coast.
Oh my God. So number 6, Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
Come on, France.
Oh, Australia.
Oh, they're not going to win.
No. Paraguay.
Blimey.
Right. How many more? 2 each? 2 more?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh
This is
my
this one.
gosh. Uzbekistan.
Yeah. We'll do. Okay. Do number 8.
Switzerland.
We already had that. That's a respin.
Oh, is he not taking them out? Oh, that's annoying.
No.
Who's got the USA? Me or you?
You.
Oh, brilliant.
USA. Yeah.
USA. USA. At least I know the chant. It's so. South Africa.
Right. We've got 2 more to go.
Okay. Oh. Democratic Republic of Congo, or as I saw on Instagram yesterday, somebody pulled it out and called it Dr. Congo.
That's a great reggae band that I really like.
Dr. Congo, yeah.
Congo. Dr. Congo and the Maytals. Right.
Oh, not this one again.
We've had Ivory Coast.
No, how close then? It's annoying that
But he rigged this.
it is rigged. South Korea.
South Korea, yeah. Right, last one.
Last one. I'm going to say that's England.
All right.
Because it just ticked over at the last second.
Okay, you got England then. Well done.
Oh, right, there you go. Is that the draw concluded?
No, one more
Oh, right, okay.
for me.
Norway.
Oh, that's good. That's worked out well.
It was better
Right.
than the one next to it, which was Iraq.
Yeah, I don't think they're any good.
Right.
Great, I've got it all written down. So we've got our 10 teams. So we've got 20 teams out of 48 or something. So chance,
Yeah.
but then quickly looking at the next piece, who's going to win and what are the odds? Bit of stat of the week. So this is a very august article that's been written about, that's been looking at all the stats from about 100 years of football and all sorts of sports, comparing them and what's the most competitive. And I won't talk about the most competitive because the kind of baseball, I think, and basketball are really competitive. Soccer can be, or football can be, but it all kind of depends. And what this essentially has concluded, and what they've done is they've worked out this upset probability, and that makes particularly competitions like the World Cup makes football quite difficult to predict. So I think Spain, the favourites, are still only at 6-1 or something. You know,
Yeah.
whereas if you take Wimbledon, so Yannick Sinner in Wimbledon is about like 5-1 on or something to win it because of the way the seeding works and all that sort of thing. So it's quite random. And the reason for that, just so you know, lots of different variables going in there, but one of them is the low level of scoring in games. And if you increase the size of a competition like they have, you get more chance of upsets, because in football you can kind of hang back and just defend, and then grab a goal at the end, even if you're a bit rubbish and the other team had all the possession. So the football is a bit is quite random, apparently, other than things like geography. So geography works well. So European teams have done very well, you know, better than LATAM and so on, even though you sort of think of it as a Brazilian or Argentinian thing. But it's actually the Europeans who've done very well over the last few years, because they've kind of worked out systems and things that actually work on the pitch, you know, and allow them to defend and then score, tippy-tap football and all that stuff. So, so it's a scarcity of goals. World Cup is designed almost by design, is quite random in terms of how it's all put together, as we've just seen on the spin the wheel thing. So it's really hard. So in the FT article that was linked to this, they come out with perhaps Norway would be a good bet, which is who I've got. Norway would be a good bet because they're kind of European. You know, they've got sort of, you know, they've got some of the, they're not quite the top rated, but they're kind of up there in the odds. So they might be a good one. But that was a bit of a guess, I think, on the FT's part. So I think our Norway-England bets compared with the others ought to be quite good. But, you know, we've got some interesting, you know, you never know.
We got
I don't think Curacao is going to win it, by the way. That's one thing I can say.
Yeah. So we'll follow those teams and report back on their progress. We might say, if Norway get any further, then perhaps we'll bring Bent on, our friend who is Norwegian. And,
yes, we could. And I'm going to develop a little scoring system for this for each game, so you get like a point for a win and so on.
Okay.
It's not going to be complicated.
Yeah, and then we can have a prize for the lowest ranked team.
Yeah,
and one for the highest.
yeah. I think we'll. I don't think we really picked up some of the main favourites there, unfortunately. But England's quite high up there, and Norway's not bad. Belgium's.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They always seem to fall over when they get to the competition, don't they? Belgium.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they're a bit flaky.
Yeah.
But never mind. Maybe none of our teams will win, but as long as we get this, how far we get and how many points we get.
Good. Excellent. Great stuff. Thanks, Ben. It was good fun. What are you doing this weekend? Anything good?
No, I don't know, actually. It's going to be nice weather, isn't it? Yes, I'll play some golf, probably.
Yeah, apparently it's going to be. I can't believe it because this week's been
so rainy.
Been like autumn.
Yeah.
But
warming up. What about you?
Yeah, I think we're just getting ready for TINtech, to be honest with you. It's a pretty big event on Tuesday. So on Sunday
I'll watch football. I'll watch a bit of the football.
Oh yeah, of course.
Scotland should be a laugh. Will they beat Haiti? No. 1-1. There'll be 1-0 up for most of the game, and Haiti will score in the last minute.
Yeah.
And then they'll beat Morocco.
Then it all comes down to the wire. I don't even know. What is it?
Then they play Brazil.
Oh, do they? Oh, yes.
I think they'll end up having to beat Brazil. Fun, though. It'd be good if they did, wouldn't it?
It would be good.
Imagine.
Yeah, I mean, we go on, still bang on about 66. I mean, if they beat Brazil, that'd be it. They might as well just come home. They've done it.
Well, Scotland, it's just getting here is a win for them. So they're much happier than England fans are. We're supposed to win it apparently, but we could, but
we could.
But
it's very hot, isn't it? They're already getting the excuses in. It's very hot.
The Scots have been in saunas. They've been using saunas to get acclimatized to the heat, which seems a bit of a basic way of doing it, but maybe they don't have that much funding in the Scottish team.
Maybe.
I don't think sitting in a sauna is the same as running around a 30-degree football pitch myself.
No. I was watching it last night as well, and they were saying that it's actually the what's it called? Altitude of the pitch in Mexico that's the real killer.
Yeah. Well, maybe they're in saunas that are on top of mountains.
Yeah.
Get that to get both the hits.
Yeah. Maybe.
The ball flies faster, doesn't it? In those thin, in altitude, the ball goes faster, through the air.
Oh, right. I never thought about that.
I don't know that. I'm thinking it does, because I think I remember the Mexico World Cups and things where they said it. There's a lot of long shots that go in and keepers don't get because the ball's flying faster through the air.
Yeah.
Could have completely made this up, but anyway, we'll check it.
Yeah.
Fact check.
Yeah, we'll get the AI to fact check it.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yeah, bang on.
Absolutely true.
Great. Right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We will see you. I think we might see you next week, although we'll see how it all goes. Got a busy week next week.
I think it might not happen. It might be pretty.
Yeah. Okay, good. Right. Thanks, Ben. See you later. Bye.
Bye. Have a good weekend.